This article about 8.2 year oversupply of condos in the metropolitan Manila area shocked a lot of people. What's your observation around the Philippines? Let us know in the comments. In early 2020, there was pretty much a worldwide travel ban around the world, shut down transportation, shut down companies. A number of factors happened here in the Philippines. Millions of foreigners went back to their home countries. The Koreans, the Westerners, all over the world. They went back to their home countries, and so it left millions of vacant condominiums, homes, townhouses. So it had a huge impact. Had a huge impact on sales. The real estate companies attempted to do selling online. A number of other factors, not just the travel lockdowns, restrictions, but also the companies that stayed open were allowed to continue to work. Many of them had their employees working from home, so they no longer needed places to live near their offices, wherever they might be, the BPOs, the call centers, and such. And then in the end of in the middle of 2024, President Marcos Jr. said that all POGOs, Philippine offshore gaming organizations, were illegal. All had to shut down and leave the country by the end of 2024. So you had was probably, I've seen lots of different figures. The highest figure I've seen was there was probably 300,000 people involved in that. 200,000 foreigners, mostly Chinese, and maybe 100,000 Filipinos that may have been affected by that, working as housekeepers or cooks or whatever. And I know one POGO, they rented one whole tall condominium building over in Mactan Newtown, and how for working and for housing their employees. So when they shut down, there's one whole condominium building gone. They have found them and kicked them out of subdivisions where they have rented a big portion of the homes in subdivisions. They have found them in many of them went into hiding, went underground, operating out of resorts, hotels, different places, and the owners of those places, management, aren't going to turn them in most cases because they've got that guaranteed income coming in. But we'll get into a little more of the details in this video, and yeah, comment. Let me know what you think is happening. The article was about many areas of metropolitan Manila. How do you think it's going on in Cebu City, in Iloilo, Bacolod City, Davao City, other cities? What's your observation? I see a lot of vacancies out there, and yeah, I've got over 1,500 videos up. A lot of real estate videos, what do the condominiums look like, or housing developments. What do you get? What do they rent for? Since 2016. So take a moment to subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment always helps the algorithms. Really means a lot to help the channel. I have cost of living videos, travel videos, information about medical and dental costs, and a whole lot more there.
Where do you take the scrap? Who do you sell the scrap to?
I don't think they understood my English, so I didn't stay there and try to carry on a conversation very long. And then you also had with the vast majority of businesses going out of business, shutting down, because they couldn't travel. There were no customers. You had a lot of the Filipinos going back to their home provinces, and they survived there however they did. And anyway, across the street here you've got a Chinese cemetery, and nobody leaving there, no access for unauthorized persons. I did a video many years ago, Filipinos living in a cemetery, and maybe they kicked them out of there, and that's the way they got locked up. Now you can go in, and if you have some reason to be in there, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, so you have millions of Filipinos going back to their province and leaving. There might be 4 Filipinos some places living in a studio with bunk beds, for instance. I've seen that in a number of condominiums, so that opened up even more properties. You also had many companies that still remained in business going to work from home. Call centers, where millions of people work. Call centers would set them up with a computer at their home and let them work from home. And a lot of those people are still working from home. If you're from the USA, you know about the big push to get people back into the office, because I've worked from home a number of times. You are definitely get distracted unless you're very, very disciplined. You get distracted with a number of things when you're working from home. But I did it a number of different businesses that I had, as well as when I worked for other people. Danger, no smoking, and then there's advertising to sell cigarettes. And then you have the POGO, Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators. In June of 2024, President Marcos Jr. said they are now outlawed. They all had to leave the country by the end of 2024. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, had to leave their places, and they would rent whole condominium towers. Anyway, the big question is that affecting? It's affecting several areas of number of things. They overbuilt. I think there's no question the fact that they overbuilt. Number one, after 2 years of the lockdowns, a lot of these units came open, ready for occupancy, and they're still, in the couple of years of recovery we've had, even 2024, I think there were 5.2, a little over 5 million foreign visitors that came here who would rent the things out. In 2019, there was over 9 million, so it's over 3.5 million less people. That's a lot of people who are not filling these homes and condominiums on a rental basis.
How much do you sell a bag of sand?
70 pesos.
70 pesos?
Yes.
All right. Discount?
You black?
Yeah. Say hello to the world. What if you buy 1 truckload? Is discount?
How much?
One pickup truckload.
10,000.
Okay.
One truck.
You get a discount then. All right.
What's your name, your black?
Amazing Philippines. Where does the sand come from? The river?
Asa nagikan?
Where?
Province.
Province. Oh,
I like to
good.
walk, and I like to stop and talk to the locals, see what's going on. Anyway, the sand comes out of the province, up in the mountains, probably someplace where there's sand. And I know good sand is hard to come by. Even in Las Vegas, where I lived many years, they would difficult to find sand out in the middle of the desert. Good sand that wasn't full of clay anyway, and they would have to haul many truckloads of water in to wash that sand to get the clay out of it. Now we are still in the high season here in the Philippines, and I think I think we've got a lot of foreigners here. More sand here, but anyway, my observation is, there's more foreigners here. I think because there's a lot more vloggers here than years ago, and people are thinking, hey, I'll check out the Philippines. And I've noticed more lights on in some of these condominiums, and I observe that type of thing, and I ask around, and people are staying a little bit longer. Some people are. Back that way is Ayala Mall and Cebu Business District. But not nearly where it needs to be. Still in a recovery mode. Probably what I've read, probably for another 2 years, 25, 26, before they get back to that 9+ million tourists. And, Thailand gets about 4 times as many. They get about 40 million. So there's a big potential for the Philippines. I think they need to step up a number of things. Their infrastructure, getting to and from resorts, because a lot of times it takes quite a long day trip to get to where you want to go here. November through April and May are kind of the high season here in the Philippines, and so we'll see what happens as we progress. If a lot of the expats are going to stay longer term, this is one of those intersections, usually no traffic enforcer, and people just go. One side sticks their nose out, then the other side goes. It works very efficiently. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of developers have raised their sales prices significantly over the years, but rental prices have not been rising nearly as fast. So you're talking about return on investment is very, very low. And I get into more of those details in my membership site. I take a little deeper dive into the real estate market here. So you've had information come out of Metropolitan Manila, and there isn't very much transparency in the real estate market here in the Philippines. You get some information from the Central Bank of the Philippines, but that is just for loans. And there's a lot of property that changes hands cash only. So that information is not available. And there's some attempt to get more accurate information, but it's going to be a while. So basically, rental prices have not been rising nearly as fast as the purchase prices. So where I live, the owner bought early on, bought like 12, 13 years ago during pre-selling. So they have a low cost going in. They can receive a lower rental and still get a good return on investment. Based on figures I've seen, 5, 6, 7%, 7% would be very good return on investment several years ago. And now it's down, the charts I've seen, down to 2 to 4%, which isn't very good because there are other costs involved as well. I've seen a lot of that advertising here in Cebu City as well. That even though the selling prices are much higher, I'm seeing the ads. We're offering big discounts, long payment terms, easy payment terms. They show some very low monthly numbers. But there again, the catch is, at a certain point in time, you're going to have to make the full payment. And that is the issue. So anyway, I don't think we don't have the same type of problem here in the Philippines with the 8-year oversupply. But my personal opinion is that there is an oversupply. I asked an architect who was managing the condo building I was living in 2015, 10 years ago, are they overbuilding? And we had a discussion about that, and he said, yeah, that's a discussion being had among realtors and developers, whether they are overbuilding. That was 10 years ago, with so many new buildings coming open, and we have thousands and thousands of more units coming open in the next year or two as well. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Depending upon where you want to rent, location, or buy. If you want to be right next to a big mall, like here in Solenea, they've got 5 towers now up, I think. Generally, your cost is going to be up a little higher, but still reasonable. My friend is paying $25,000 a month. And but you can find studios in other parts of the city that are still going for 12 to 15 to 20,000 pesos per month. So it depends on what you want, and what's included. Usually does not include internet, although if you go Airbnb, it might. Usually does not include cable TV, but if it does, you got to know, does it include condo dues? That can be anywhere from 70 to 100, or in some newer developments even 100 and 120, 130, 150 pesos per square meter. I also think with many of these new projects, looking at the asking price, the sales prices, is that they are very, very, very high, and you're going to get a lot of reluctance of investors because of the decreased return on investment for rentals, and the fact that they're already that high. What's the chance that they're going to appreciate over the years? Even the realtors in Manila were saying, yeah, they thought they were going to see land prices coming down just because of the big oversupply that's going on right there. So there again, we'll wait and see. So I'm coming up on SM Mall, Cebu City up there. So that's where I'm going to end my trip and this video. Anyway, yeah, there's good deals. You can still get studios and one bedrooms that are at a pretty low price if you look around. Take some time, look around. Anyway, safe travels, and we'll see you in the next video.